GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Dupuis. This morning we'll unpack the tragic murder case uncovered in a Montreal apartment and a startling study showing a surge in homeless deaths across Quebec. Also, traffic is snarled with road closures and the city's new financial aid program for businesses. Over to you, Ryan.
Montreal has officially signed Sasha Pastujov, coming from the Anaheim Ducks, to a one-year two-way contract for the 2026-27 season.
The contract covers one season, allowing Pastujov to move between the NHL and AHL depending on team needs.
Pastujov was acquired from the Anaheim Ducks in a trade earlier this week, finalizing his move to Montreal.
All right, let's get into it. Here's the full morning news lineup for Montreal listeners starting now. Here are our top stories. Montreal police are investigating the homicide of a woman discovered in a downtown apartment, marking the 15th murder recorded in the city this year. Denise Lariviere has the full story.
Police officers entered a modest three-room unit on Rue St. Laurent early Sunday morning after neighbors reported a foul odor. Inside, they found the body of a woman, age unknown, lying on the living room floor. The SPVM confirmed a homicide investigation is underway, with detectives collecting forensic evidence and interviewing residents. No arrest has been made and the motive remains unclear. This case brings the city's homicide tally to 15 for the year, the highest count since the calendar turned. Investigators say they are following several leads and urge anyone with information to contact authorities. The scene remains cordoned off as forensic teams continue their work. Uniformed officers maintain a perimeter as forensic specialists document the apartment interior. Denise Lariviere, GMNA News, Montreal.
A new study by researchers at Université de Sherbrooke has uncovered a dramatic rise in deaths among people experiencing homelessness across Quebec. Analyzing data from 2020 through 2024, the team documented an increase of 180% compared with earlier years. The research, the first to compile annual mortality figures for the province's unhoused population, highlights a stark escalation that officials have not previously quantified. Researchers say the surge coincides with a period marked by heightened housing insecurity and limited shelter capacity. Health officials and social service agencies are being urged to examine the underlying causes and consider targeted interventions. City leaders in Montreal and other regions have expressed concern, noting that the data underscores gaps in emergency outreach. The authors also recommend establishing a system to track homeless mortality consistently.
Sandhill cranes are set to become fair game species for hunters this fall, as provincial wildlife agencies open limited zones in 2 Quebec regions and portions of Ontario to regulated hunting. The change marks the first occasion the large migratory birds will be legally pursued in either province, prompting a shift in conservation and sport shooting policies that have long protected the species. Officials say hunters will need to obtain specific permits and adhere to strict bag limits designed to balance population health with recreational demand. The newly designated areas will be announced later this month, and enforcement officers will monitor compliance throughout the season. Applications for the seasonal licenses open next Monday, and hunters are urged to complete the online process early to secure their spots. Wildlife groups have expressed concern, but regulators stress that scientific assessments support the decision as sustainable for the crane population.
Drummondville cemeteries are posting search notices on tombstones after maintenance contracts for certain plots expired, urging families to come forward. Officials hope to locate next of kin. Giselle Cartier has the full story.
With the summer sun rising over the historic grounds, staff at several Drummondville cemeteries are taping bright-colored notices to tombstones. The slips read, "If you are a relative, please contact the cemetery office," and are meant to locate families after maintenance contracts on a number of plots ran out last month. Without a contract, the city can no longer fund regular upkeep, leaving the graves at risk of neglect. Officials say the notices are a last-ditch effort to track down next of kin before any further deterioration. Similar lapses have prompted other Quebec towns to adopt the same approach, hoping to reconnect with descendants before the sites fall into disrepair. Jose Cartier, GMNA News, Drummondville.
An apple grower in the heart of Quebec is currently testing a new anti-hail cannon designed to shield orchard crops from the sudden storms that can wipe out a season's yield. The device fires a low-frequency blast that, according to early reports, discourages hail formation as it approaches the trees. Trials began this August and will run through the rest of the growing season, giving researchers real-time data on effectiveness and any impact on fruit quality. Hail has long been a major threat to apple producers, often causing bruised or shattered fruit that can devastate profits. By experimenting with this technology, growers hope to cut losses and keep their orchards productive without resorting to costly chemical sprays. The pilot remains underway, with results expected to inform broader adoption across the province. Later we'll break down the $2.3 billion port expansion and its job impact, plus more top stories. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Quebec's Minister of Energy, Christine Fréchette, will travel to Newfoundland tomorrow to affix her signature to a new agreement on the long-standing Churchill Falls hydroelectric project. Accompanying her are senior officials Bernard Drainville and Claudine Bouchard, along with senior executives from Hydro-Quebec. The pact, reached after months of intensive talks, aims to restructure the power sale terms that have governed the trans-provincial arrangement for more than 6 decades. Both provinces say the deal will unlock additional revenue streams and provide greater certainty for future energy planning. Hydro-Quebec officials stress that the revised framework could accelerate investments in renewable capacity across the province. Newfoundland officials welcome the development, noting that the agreement reflects a collaborative approach to managing shared natural resources. The signing ceremony is set for a government venue in St. John, with media presence expected.
A violent confrontation in Verdun left a man seriously injured and a woman in police custody after weapons were exchanged, authorities say. The incident occurred Thursday evening, prompting a rapid police response. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
A heated dispute in Verdun erupted into an armed clash on the afternoon of August 15th. Witnesses said the confrontation quickly turned violent, with shots fired before police arrived on the scene. Officers moved in, securing the area and providing emergency medical assistance to the man who had been shot. He was listed as seriously injured and was rushed to a nearby hospital for treatment. The woman involved was taken into custody at the scene, where she faces charges related to the armed incident. Police are still gathering statements from neighbors and reviewing footage to piece together what sparked the altercation. No further injuries have been reported. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, Verdun.
Construction is underway on a new wharf that will become the centerpiece of the Port of Montreal expansion. The $2.3 billion effort, now breaking ground along the St. Lawrence River, is slated to boost the terminal's handling capacity and reinforce the corridor as a nation-building infrastructure project. Workers have begun piling concrete and installing pilings, with the first phase expected to run through the next several years. The Port Authority says the added berth will accommodate larger vessels and streamline freight flows, supporting trade across the province and beyond. Officials highlighted that the project, funded by federal and provincial partners, reflects a long-term strategy to keep the island's gateway competitive in a shifting global market. The development is part of a broader push to modernize Canada's maritime trade network. Construction crews are expected to maintain activity throughout the summer, keeping the waterfront humming with progress.
Yesterday, a Quebec Superior Court judge signed off on a settlement that will see the Archdiocese of Quebec pay $31.5 million to more than 100 survivors of sexual abuse. The compensation addresses claims that clergy and church employees perpetrated assaults dating back to 1940. Victims had pursued a lengthy legal battle, arguing the institution had failed to protect children for decades. The court's approval brings an end to years of litigation that have weighed heavily on the province's religious community. While the agreement does not include an admission of guilt, it represents the largest monetary resolution in the province's clergy abuse cases to date. The Archdiocese will begin distributing funds in the coming weeks, according to court filings. The deal covers roughly 150 claimants, each receiving an amount based on circumstances. It also includes counseling and support services.
A police pursuit across the Pierre-Laporte Bridge overnight led to shots being fired, leaving one person dead after 3 forces were involved. The incident is now under investigation by Quebec's independent police watchdog. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
Police officers from 3 different forces chased a suspect across the Pierre-Laporte Bridge overnight between August 14th and 15th. As the pursuit continued, officers opened fire on the bridge, and a single person was fatally wounded. The incident left no other injuries reported. Quebec's independent police watchdog has opened an investigation into the shooting and the circumstances surrounding the chase. Authorities have not yet released details about the suspect or the victim, and the bridge remains closed to traffic while investigators work at the scene. The bridge is expected to reopen once forensic teams finish their work. Family members of the victim have been notified and are receiving support. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, Pierre-Laporte Bridge.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what the day has in store for us.
A weakening high yields a slow northwest jet that will push unsettled air into Montreal today. On this date, the all-time high sits at 30.6 Celsius, recorded in 2025 during a late summer heat wave that pushed the city into the upper 30s for several days. The all-time low is 13.2 Celsius, set in 2021 when an Arctic dip slipped south, blanketing the region in sub-zero air aloft and driving temperatures below the usual winter baseline. By contrast, the 1991-2020 normal high is 25 Celsius, and the normal low is 15 Celsius, so today's forecast sits comfortably between those averages. The live radar shows a clear swath across southern Quebec, with no precipitation echoes anywhere in the map. That emptiness reflects the current high-pressure core that is still suppressing lift, while the fast northwest jet rides aloft, keeping moisture confined north of the St. Lawrence. With no rain bands in sight, the city will stay dry through the morning and the rest of the day. At 7 this morning, Montreal sits under a mostly clear sky with a temperature of 14 Celsius and a dew point just 1 degree lower, making humidity feel high. The high-pressure ridge is beginning to fall, signaling the approach of a more unsettled air mass. Overhead, a strong northwest jet streams at roughly 150 kilometers per hour, channeling cooler, drier air from the interior of Canada toward the province. As the ridge slides east, temperatures will climb steadily, reaching 26 Celsius by mid-afternoon before easing to 21 as the sun sets at 8:02. The ultraviolet index will sit at 4, and wind will remain light, around 12 kilometers per hour from the southwest. No weather alerts are in effect. Looking ahead, Saturday remains dry with highs near 26 Celsius and lows 14, the sky turning overcast by evening. Sunday brings a cooler high of 23 and a low of 14, but cloud cover will increase, and the chance of rain sits at 50%. Monday stays mild at 21 Celsius high and 17 low under persistent overcast skies. Tuesday warms back to 24 Celsius with an 18 low, again overcast but dry. Wednesday, the pattern flips to clear skies, high 22 and low 17, yet a 50% rain chance lingers in the morning due to lingering moisture aloft. Thursday clears further, high 24, low 15, and only a 20% chance of rain. The jet will gradually shift north, allowing the high pressure to rebuild by the end of the period. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunrise is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Stay tuned for heavy traffic updates, a look at the UGIO Championship Series and the Habs off-season questions. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
The biggest headache this morning is the closure of the Pont Honoré-Mercier. Traffic is spilling onto the surrounding arteries, with Autoroute 20 and Rue Notre Dame both snarled as drivers seek alternate routes. On top of that, Autoroute 520 is under a major hindrance, turning the east-west flow into a crawl between the Viaou and Henry Bourassa exits. Rue Saint-Urbain is also hit by a major blockage, forcing downtown commuters onto Rue Saint-Denis and Rue Saint-Laurent, where queues are already building. Minor slowdowns persist on Boulevard Lacordaire and Boulevard Métropolitain, but those streets remain passable with a few extra minutes. Construction on Atwater Avenue continues through the morning, narrowing the lane count and adding intermittent stops near the Guy-Stephenson intersection. All other major routes, including the Descurry and the Champlain, are moving freely. No transit delays are reported, so the metro and bus network should run on schedule this morning.
Montreal rolls through Parc Jean-Drapeau right now, bringing country music fans a weekend of Thomas Rhett, Mumford & Sons, and John Party, perfect for a sunrise soundtrack on the island. The open-air stage invites picnickers to linger as the lineup shifts into evening bluegrass. At the Montreal Convention Centre, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series Montreal 2026 kicks off today, gathering top card players for high-stakes duels any game lover can watch. It's a rare chance to see future champions battle live. The Summer Fun Festival continues at Marché Central, offering free face painting, slime-making workshops, and live entertainment for families seeking a sunny Saturday vibe. Kids can splash in games while parents enjoy food trucks. The MAD Festival opens later this week at Place des Festivals in the Quartier des Spectacles, showcasing cutting-edge fashion, pop-up shops, and runway shows, a must-see for fresh style inspiration. And now here's Tyler with sports.
Canadiens camp is weeks away, and Montreal's roster picture is taking shape. Jakub Dobiš and Ivan Demidov are the talk of the league this offseason, with their new contracts already being called the top moves of the summer. Demidov's deal is drawing particular attention. There's real discussion it could be one of the last 8-year contracts the NHL ever hands out. The pressure on Dobiš now is delivering a sophomore season worthy of that stellar rookie campaign. LJ Mooney isn't losing sleep over his size. The Canadiens' prospect is pointing directly at Cole Caulfield and Lane Hutson as proof that Montreal builds winners at any height. That's not blind optimism, that's a prospect reading his organization correctly. With the Canadiens in strong cap shape heading into the new season, there's room on this roster for the right player to earn a spot. The Canadiens have locked up forward Sasha Pastujov on a 1-year, 2-way deal for the 2026-27 season. Montreal acquired Pastujov from Anaheim, and a 2-way structure tells you exactly what this is, a depth addition with something to prove. He'll have every incentive to force his way into the lineup and stay there. Training camp arrives soon, and this roster is worth watching closely.
Thanks, Tyler. The City of Montreal Financial Assistance Program, now active across downtown zones from St. Catherine West to Notre Dame, is stepping up for our local merchants. Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada just announced that the city is expanding aid to more than 20 neighborhoods hit by major road and metro construction. The new funding helps shops and restaurants cover lost revenue, keep staff on payroll, and stay open while streets are closed for months. With each lane of traffic rerouted, the program becomes a lifeline that preserves the vibrancy of our cafes, boutiques, and markets. Owners say the assistance gives them hope to invest in new ideas and keep serving their loyal customers. It matters because when our neighborhoods stay bustling, Montreal keeps its unique rhythm alive. Up next, we'll reveal how an acquitted man settled with Montreal and Quebec, and the tragic Route 105 crash details.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. A man acquitted after more than 4 decades behind bars has reached a settlement with the city of Montreal and the government of Quebec over his wrongful 1983 murder conviction. Marion Kate has the full story.
After more than 40 years behind bars, the man whose 1983 double murder conviction was overturned has reached a settlement with the city of Montreal and the government of Quebec. The civil suit, filed following his acquittal earlier this year, sought compensation for the wrongful conviction and the long stretch of imprisonment and parole. Officials said the agreement resolves all outstanding claims tied to the case, though the terms remain confidential. Lawyers for the plaintiff described the settlement as a step toward closure after decades of legal battles. The city and province declined to comment on the financial details, noting the agreement reflects a commitment to address past injustices. Marion Kate, GMNA News, Montreal.
2 people were killed and several others injured after a collision on Route 105 in the Outaouais region of western Quebec on Friday, August 14. Quebec Provincial Police are on scene. Denise Lariviere has the full story.
2 motorists lost their lives early Friday on Route 105 in the Outaouais region, as a high-speed collision sent several vehicles careening off the roadway. Police say the crash involved a tractor-trailer and 2 passenger cars, with the trailer striking the front of one car before rolling into the opposite lane. Emergency crews arrived within minutes, extracting the injured and transporting them to nearby hospitals. First responders reported multiple people with serious injuries, while investigators are now combing the scene for evidence of speed or mechanical failure. The Sûreté du Québec has opened a formal investigation and urges anyone with additional information to contact authorities. Denise Lariviere, GMNA News, Outaouais.
Thank you, Montreal, for watching the local sunrise. Tonight's look at the new Montreal port expansion reminds us how our city keeps growing, even as we face tough stories. Join us again tomorrow for more insight and conversation. I'm Lauren Dupuis, and I'll see you then.